So let's take energy for a second. Hopefully by the end of this year, if not by the first quarter of next year, our government center, which is a 10-story office building, will be a fuel cell, using fuel cell technology built and fuel cells built in the state. The two leading companies, used to be the three leading companies, but two of the three leading companies are based in Connecticut. One of those companies escaped to the West Coast, which was a mistake on our part to let it go, by the way. That's just a small portion of the answer. The other is a ton of low-hanging fruit that state government needs to be involved in and encouraging. For instance, in the city of Stamford, we've driven down our electric usage in the same number of buildings that we've always had by 19% since 1998. Everybody needs to do that, and in doing that you start to drive down the cost of electricity. But the biggest part of it is when we deregulated, right, when we broke delivery apart from production, we didn't put sufficient pressure on the two remaining delivery utilities to modernize their systems. And we're playing a huge game of catch-up. And quite frankly, the only place that's likely to catch up in the next 4 or 5 years is Stamford. Everything else is going to be straddled with a fairly poor delivery system for probably a 10 to 15-year period of time. That's how far behind they are. So we need to put a lot of pressure on the utilities and put skin into the game. And we also need to make Connecticut an easier place to bring about new production. Now we are doing that in Middletown. A new relatively clean operation will come on in Middletown. But one of the things that I've done as mayor has been invested in proving a new technology. We have the best sewage treatment plant in America. We now take the residual effluent called sludge and we dry it. And the common usage of that drying process is fertilizer, and we actually sell it to companies that distribute it as fertilizer. But we've now also built a mini electric generator that uses a gasification process that is proving that technology in the United States. We need to be involved in those kinds of technologies as well. So there's lots of ideas. Stamford has 13.5 acres of green roofs, for instance. You know, driving down the cost of cooling and heating buildings. So there's lots of things we need to be doing in lots of different ways. This is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to driving down the cost of electricity.
Why is electricity so expensive in Connecticut?
A lot of it has to do with our inability to ship or transmit energy. We have a very constrained system that is overloaded and not modern. So that's a big part of it, which makes it more difficult to access outside sources. So that's a problem within. And we don't have a lot of sources within. We didn't bring new energy sources online in Connecticut for a very long period of time. So we're buying increasing amounts of our electricity from outside of the state with a constrained and aged distribution system. Those two things put together lead to the most expensive energy in the country. I mean, I will honestly tell you, we have lost jobs that might have moved to Connecticut from New York because of their fear about the consistency of electricity delivery in Fairfield County. I mean, I've been at the table. I've had those discussions. Companies have failed to come. They've gone to Westchester or northern New Jersey because they didn't trust the consistency of the delivery of electricity in our part of the state. It has to do with government not playing an appropriate role to make sure that investments were made on a timely, long-term basis. You know, if you're going to maintain and modernize a delivery system, you have to be at it literally every year. And what we did in the state was to fall asleep for 10 years. So now what you're seeing is delivery charges go up as we have a utility that's struggling to catch up, and struggling to catch up particularly in very constrained electric delivery areas like southern Fairfield County. But the reality is the whole state needs to be modernized, and we are going to have to play an active role. So like a lot of other states, we pursued deregulation. But what we failed to follow up then was to make sure that we would bring energy sources and a distribution system online that would meet the increasing needs of our citizenry. Other states envisioned greater usage of computers and air conditioning and new wiring of houses and upgrading of systems and new employers that would put strains on the system. Other states built those systems. We didn't, and that's why we have this problem. So you need a government that's proactive.